Welcome to Your Nonprofit Power. I am your host, Amy Fazio, for our video podcast. I'm really excited to be here with you today. We are continuing our discussion on how to help nonprofit leaders scale their mission, grow their fundraising, and their peace of mind. Because success, without feeling good about it, without peace of mind, isn't scalable. It's not truly sustainable success. So we want to help you create more money, more mission, more impact. And we bring on speakers on the show, and I share content with you on how you can be focusing on your next most powerful step. We got to keep it simple because the burnout problem in the nonprofit sector is real. So today I'm thrilled to invite you into the community. Join us for the next half hour or so as we talk about the development of our three types of fundraisers and how we can raise more money without the hustle. We're going to talk about the hustler and find out what kind of fundraising type you are, why I created the quiz, and how we can help you right now based on where you are in your fundraising journey. So thanks for being here. Wonderful to have you. I am excited to announce and share with you and talk a little bit more about my new website at amyfazio.com. There are going to be some new and exciting resources there I'll be pointing you to. That's where you can find the quiz. What type of fundraiser are you? So let me know if you've taken the quiz. Let me know if you're joining today live. Say hello. I want to make sure you can see and hear me okay. The quiz all started, the WTF quiz is what I call it, started when I realized that as I talk so much about the Magnify Your Mission system, the process I created to help nonprofits grow in a manageable way, in a systematic way, to take away the chaos and the overwhelm. So I wanted to really break it down because I had been doing this for a long time. I've been in nonprofits for almost 30 years at this point. I have been the fundraiser, the director of fundraising, the director of business development in a $20 million nonprofit. I've been the CEO where I've seen an organization double its revenue from $2 to $4 million in just a few years. I have been a political candidate organizing on the ground, and I have been helping other nonprofits grow through my system and process, the Magnify Your Mission program, because I know that we can take the overwhelm away if we can help leaders pinpoint their unique next step. So I created the quiz to do just that, to help you see where you are today and therefore what you can do next to move past this growth stage. That's what it takes to grow your mission. So three types of fundraisers came up for me over the last 30 years. And I've been one of these fundraisers at different times of my career. So I relate very personally to these. And if I'm being honest, I can still get pulled back into some old patterns. And the good news is I get faster at catching myself, revert back to the first phase of fundraising, which is the hustler mentality. So I labeled the first phase of fundraising the hustler. And the second type of fundraising is a serial entrepreneur. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about all of these, but today we're focusing in on the hustler. All of this on our path to becoming a fearless fundraiser. Someone who understands their power, their boundaries. They understand the who cares and why people choose to get involved. So their message and their work is incredibly targeted and focused, saving tons of time and frustration and energy and resources. To be fearless means you're confident. You are certain your mission is going to become a reality and you have the track record and the message. So we're going to get you there, but we have to figure out where you are today to know what to build next. That's the good news. These are very specific steps. It's not linear though, right? It's not linear, but they are simple. The Magnify Your Mission system in these 5 core areas of growth, we have to figure out where you are and which is the next one to move. But there is one mistake I see over and over again when it comes to fundraising. The number one mistake I see fundraisers make, and especially at the hustler stage. Now, when I talk about the hustler fundraiser, is anybody out there connecting or can relate to being a hustler? Hustlers have huge heart and big, big passionate motivation to make a difference. And they are committed. They are dedicated. In fact, I sometimes refer to the hustler as the nonprofit martyr because it's almost that pride and the dedication that blinds us to every other aspect of running the business. That faith is so strong that it's almost everything will work out, that I just have to keep pushing ahead. But really what we need to do is we need to help you stop and build the steps for sustainable growth time and time again. We want you to be on the wash, rinse, repeat. And it's got to be simple. It's got to be simple. So the hustler can definitely have the martyr attribute. They will do anything. They will drag their families with them and make them carry big boxes to events and all kinds of things. But ultimately, the energy is that it has to be hard, that the hustle is a necessary part of changing the world and making things better. And I get that. Certainly why I've been drawn to nonprofits and choosing to build my expertise here in this industry to make a difference. But we are running a business, and we have to remember that hustler energy, that chaos energy, that do more all the time at all cost, push through energy is noble, but can make for a difficult investment. So as we grow and we move into major donors and corporate sponsors and even foundations for some of you, we want to make sure that the hustle isn't so strong that people aren't trusting that there is a plan in place, that there's a methodical process that we're going through. So the hustler is passionate. There's no doubt about it. I'm curious, let me know if you can relate to some of the hustle. It's doing as many things at once as possible. It's always adding another fundraiser or another program. It's doing all of the things and not yet building out the team to do them well. What's super interesting about the hustler, I will say, this stage of fundraising can last anywhere from 6 months to a decade. Like, it can last a long time. And the goal is we want to move you past it sooner. The thing about the hustler also is it's not necessarily just for small organizations. This is what I find a lot of people don't understand about nonprofits. You can be $1 million organization and still be in the hustle phase of fundraising. Maybe you've been grant funded. Maybe you have contracts with government, and fundraising hasn't had to be a focus for you. So keep in mind, your dollar amount of $10,000 annual revenue to $2 million doesn't mean you haven't graduated from the hustler phase yet. So we want to give you some support, and the support that I'm going to be sending you, for those of you who take the quiz, let me know if you've taken the quiz, is some huge resources to address the number one mistake I see nonprofit leaders make out there. And it's the first step of the Magnify Your Mission system. In the first 30 days of working with me, we are honing 2 key parts of your whole system, right? We want to make sure that you really understand your power. And we go through a very specific process for you to do a brand positioning assessment, right? Where do you fit in? Who cares about your success as much as you do? Who are your people? So community building is everything. We have to know who our people are to do it. This is why I created the quiz. First off, to help you identify where you are in the process and find your next best step to growing. But the second reason I created the quiz is to help me help you based on where you are in the process. And I have just invested a huge amount of time and money and energy into working with my new marketing team, who's done a great job with me to help me design both this quiz and some information I'm prepared to send out to you to move you along, whether you work with me or not. Whether you work with me today or in the future, we want to get you ready for your next step. So I know learning is the most important thing we can do as leaders. And if I'm going to teach my clients how to build community online in between fundraisers to drive a tsunami of support, make big change, I have to know how to do it. And so today is a really actually very exciting and big day for Magnify Your Mission and our team here. Tamara and Victor, who have helped me along the way and build this quiz out and launch my new website. And that's what's happening today. The website is done and available, and I want you to go check it out. When you fill out the quiz in your inbox, you're going to get a couple of exercises that are going to be key to fixing the number one mistake I see fundraisers make. And I want to get you started with that right away. So the website is up. You know a little bit about my story and why I created the quiz, why I work with nonprofit leaders in the first place. And of course, on my website, I break it all down for you. But, I'm on a mission too. I'm on a mission to be part of a community of change makers, to lead change makers to go beyond what they even thought possible, to inspire them to tap into their true power and take their mission to the next level. Because when my community of change makers work together to help each other out, the world gets better faster. We are tackling multiple issues from multiple points of view for big change. That gets me pretty fired up. That's why I've created this whole system and why I've dedicated my time to supporting other nonprofit leaders and community builders. I have done this, as I've mentioned, as a CEO. I've done this as a political candidate. I am an elected school board member currently in my community, and I teach a class on community and civic engagement. I study social movements, and I know the way to make big change isn't through fundraising, it's through the power of the people we represent. And that's why the Magnify Your Mission system is built on community building, and we have to know how to do that digitally. We have to be prepared for this next generation of leaders, and we have to stay competitive in who hears our voice. It's not that people don't care. It's that our message isn't hitting the right people at the right time. And we can fix that, but we got to get honest about what's working, right? So that's my hope for you, that if you're in my world, that we tell it like it is. In order to grow, we have important work to do, and we have to figure out what is getting in the way right now to making that happen, to our big goal, to bring people around us, to create that community movement, that social movement of support. That gets everybody's attention. That makes everything else easier, especially fundraising. So the Magnify Your Mission works in 5 different areas. I'm going to drop the graphic down below and check out my website. That's where you can see the Magnify Your Mission system, see what your next priority is. And if this number one mistake is what is top of mind for you, is it your big vision and conveying your power? Is it your strategic planning and having clear goals? A simple fundraising plan where people know how to get engaged and where to get involved? A community engagement strategy that goes beyond just fundraising, that builds a community of people who care about the mission and one another. And finally, leadership, your mindset. Are you growing and developing as an individual leader? Because I have never seen an organization grow without the leaders themselves making those choices to become more vulnerable and to learn some new things, like how to build a community digitally, So we're all stretching and growing. Here is a space we can help you do it. When I developed the quiz, when I was knocking 100 doors as a community organizer, I learned there are different types of fundraisers. And the number one thing that folks are missing in finding out and growing and engaging your community, the number one thing is a clear and compelling message. It's the number one thing, is taking the time not to do just yet another vision mission workshop, but craft your clear and compelling message so your community, the people who care as much as you do, can find you. And then we need you to build a system to bring them into your world and keep them there, right? Because they come for the cause, but they stay for the connection. And you can't do that face to face. You just can't. Yes, you need a face to face component, but we have to develop our skills and our message so that we can have a strong digital presence. We can be with people all the time, all the time. I didn't think that was possible to do that digitally. I mean, if I'm being honest, even 5 or 7 years ago, I was much more skeptical. And it was one of my clients who showed me digital engagement is just as meaningful as face to face engagement. It doesn't mean you're as good at it as one or the other. I was a pro at face to face. I learned knocking doors. 100 doors a night was my first job out of college to bring people around protecting public lands. I eventually graduated to run a national trade association where I was traveling 50 to 75% of my time away from my family. There was a belief there was no substitute for in person. And I'm telling you, that is the path to burnout. That is the slow growth strategy. So we need to couple it with a strong digital game, right? And so that message you have, your core message, is so important because it's your I like to say you let your freak flag fly so that people know that you're for them, that these are the people you want to spend time with, that you want to dedicate your energy and create change with. So your core message is so important, and I help clients do that as a first step with their create a world statement. And here's the thing with the creative world statement. It's actually not just an internal process of mission vision work, but your create a world statement is a cascading message that helps people determine if they are on your team for one reason or another. It's not to replicate or duplicate what you're saying, but it's designed to tell one piece of the story one layer at a time so that people, for different reasons, can decide whether partnering with you, with your nonprofit, with you as a leader, is a good use of their strategic energy. So your create a world statement is a process that I have been honing for many, many years. I have worked with many, many clients, and it starts with mapping out your big vision and the change you want to make, right? Those top level issues that really bring us together on a much grander scale. Your mission, the reason people care, the people you're helping, the direct community you're serving. Maybe they believe in you as a leader, your track record, and they put their money on you or that organization every single time. Perhaps it's because of the community of people you bring together. They want to get in front of your audience. They want to be part of that community. That return on investment of personal gain. If we can capture all of that, we can really find our people, bring them together, and make them incredibly loyal. So when you fill out this quiz, you're going to get information in your inbox that's going to talk you through this process. And I am really proud of the work that me and my team have done over the last few months in connecting with you all to design this in a way that I think is going to be the most helpful. Some of you might know my training events. I do the Supercharge Your Fundraising 5-day workshop series. Has anyone participated in one of those before? I'm curious. It's been actually a few months since I've done them. I'm going to be doing another one soon, but if I'm being honest, it wasn't the most efficient way for me to get the information in the hands of my community, right? Because it's condensed and you have to wait for the next one to come. So I want to get you information when you need it. Take the quiz, see what you think, let me know, check out the worksheet, and respond to the email and let me know what you think about the process. I'd really love you to check out my website. I'd love to know if it's clear, concise, and compelling. We're always working on our messaging. And I want you to know what you think about that being an issue a lot of nonprofits face. What do you think is the number one issue that prevents people from easier fundraising? I know I shared with you mine, but I want to hear, do you agree with that? Is that something you have struggled with, or is there something else top of mind for you? I will say this, that I am lucky enough to work with an amazing group of libraries through the Allegheny Library Association. We're working with a cohort of about 15 libraries. And when I asked the group to share what is the one thing they want to work on during our mastermind time together, unilaterally, unanimously, they all said the same thing. We want a more compelling message to explain the breadth and depth of what we do. Now, I'll tell you, that is not just a wordsmithing game, right? Because that would be marketing. That would be more of the marketing and communications expertise, which I am not a proclaimed marketer, and I study social movements. I study leaders and what they do to get groups fired up. And the wordsmithing is part of it, but it starts with your belief and your mindset. And then it's the type of cascading message that we help you put together by looking at the who cares and what partners and what they want to hear about. Not what we want to talk about, but where our place is and how we can lead the conversation of change in our community. So let me know what you think about the number one most common mistake I see nonprofit leaders make. Their clear, compelling, and concise message still needs to be developed. That's what I help nonprofit leaders with. That is the very first thing we do together. Through an environmental scan, mapping out your strategic partners, looking at your ideal fundraising donor avatar, and your core messaging pillars. And we match it up into a communication strategy that really attracts your right people to you. That is the foundation to good fundraising. And it is in messaging, not in meetings. It is in messaging. The meetings come next. So take a look at the worksheet, fill out the quiz. Let me know what you think. I want to remind some of you took this quiz quite a while back and may be receiving emails now. If that's confusing, I apologize, but we are just getting these worksheets out now. We've been prepping them for months. I can't wait till you see them. And I want to hear if they resonate with you. I want them to be helpful. So let's stay connected. Stay tuned for next week's episode when we chat about, when we talk about the serial entrepreneurial phase of fundraising. It's such an exciting time that once we get our message together, we start partnering with people to grow at bigger and bigger leaps at a time. Because we don't want incremental growth, we want quantum steps forward. And the serial entrepreneur has the skill set, has the desire, has that shrewd negotiating skill that actually are very well positioned to do this, especially when they have their clear, concise, and compelling message. But there are pitfalls to watch out for, and we're going to be talking about those next week on Your Nonprofit Power, because we're here to empower you, to remind you, and to invite you to tap into the power and the change that you represent, that so many of us are counting on. We're cheering for you. In fact, we are rooting for you to step into your power, that next level, and be our voice, our collective voice. Remember, changing the world is hard, but fundraising doesn't have to be. I'm going to see you back here next week. And then we have an amazing lineup of speakers coming to you through the month of April. You don't want to miss it, from public speaking to nonprofit trends, to how to keep your community safe online. We'll see you right back here next week.